This is a Sports Catastrophe production. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond welcoming you to another Sports Catastrophe on this day. And on this day, November the 4th, 1951, my mom was born. So my mom is now 70 years old. Happy birthday, Mom. Unfortunately, she won't see this because she doesn't have the internet. So that sucks. But anyhow, I just wanted to give my mom a happy birthday greeting. And of course, a lot of people know by the picture what I really meant. No disrespect my mom. So anyway, in 2001, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the New York Yankees played Game 7 on my mom's birthday, which ended the season the longest. The latest date of a baseball season to end was November 4th, when the Diamondbacks took care of the Yankees in Game 7, as I said. The 2001 World Series has been considered one of the greatest of all time. It had 2 extra inning games, 3 late inning comebacks, and every home team winning, in a sense. So, the World Series, of course, as everyone knows, was not supposed to be in November. But the season had to be pushed a week due to you-know-what. I know some people will probably be like, what are you talking about? Well, 9/11. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So let's talk about the particulars and give some context to the 2001 World Series. The Arizona Diamondbacks were one of the last teams to begin the Major Leagues, making it a 30-team league. I wish it was 32. But anyway, Arizona began playing in 1998 alongside the Tampa Bay Devil Rays as the youngest expansion team in baseball. The Diamondbacks didn't really do that well in their first season, but they made a giant splash in more ways than one. In the second season, before the second season started, they took on Randy Johnson as a free agent. Randy Johnson was Seattle, and then he went to Houston in the trade deadline, tried to help them make the playoffs, which they did, but they failed miserably. And then he went to Arizona. The Diamondbacks won 100 games in the 1999 season, which was amazing. Unfortunately, their luck would run out against New York Mets, who made kind of a Cinderella move in the NLDS. Hitting a grand slam in Game 1 and then Todd Pratt, of all people, hitting the game-winning home run, and the series-winning home run, if you will, over the center field fence. And then the Diamondbacks fired Buck Schollwalter after a terrible 2000 season, in which they got Curt Schilling in a trade with the Phillies. He was replaced by Bob Brenly, who ironically did games for the Diamondbacks radio thing. The Diamondbacks would pick up some free agents. Reggie Sanders and Mark Grace were the biggest ones. Most of the Diamondbacks players were above the age of 30. In fact, the Diamondbacks starting lineup for the World Series in Game 1 did not include a player under the age of 31, making them the oldest team by player age in World Series history. The Diamondbacks were huge. They had the best 1-2 punch in pitching with Randy Johnson and Curt Schilling. And Randy Johnson got a 20 strikeout game. The Diamondbacks actually were second in the NL to the Atlanta Braves. I think it was Atlanta. I can't remember who beat them. Who was the better team? But as is, they took on the St. Louis Cardinals in the NLDS and beat them, despite the fact that they had to win the winner-take-all Game 5 in the LDS, thanks to Tony Womack's single. They would take on the Atlanta Braves and would win Game 5 in Atlanta, and it made the World Series in the fastest time in their 4th year of play. The Marlins went to the World Series in their 5th year, by context. So here comes the Yankees. The Yankees were the oldest and most recognized team in North American sports. They had a dynasty ever since the late 90s, when they started to finally win World Series after so much years. 96, 97, 96, 98, 99, 2000. They won 4 of the last 5 World Series. They had some talented young players, including the core 4. Derek Jeter, Andy Pettitte, Jorge Posada, and Mario Rivera, who basically came up to the Yankees almost at the same time in the by 92 through 96. The Yankees were the most successful franchise of the century, not just in baseball but in major sports, taking Montreal's record over the Montreal Canadiens. Canadian fans would be pissed. Anyhow, the Yankees won 95 games to win the AL East, crushing everyone in their path. They were the number 2 team in the AL bracket. The number 1 team were, of course, the 116-win Seattle Mariners, who they crushed in the ALCS because playoff positioning and playoff experience sunk Seattle. However, what people forget is that the 2001 New York Yankees could have fouled up in the first round. They were down 0-2 to the Oakland Athletics, the wildcard team, and they had to go to Oakland for games 3 and 4. Oakland could knock out the Yankees on home turf. But one play, above all, saved it. I don't care what you think about Tom Brennaman now after his 2020 ouster for his comments. But Tom Brennaman made a great call of the play that saw a base hit, and Jeremy Giambi was running the bases, trying to get home, and then for some reason, anticipating that the throw to the plate was not going to get to Posada, Derek Jeter cut it off and flipped it to Posada, who tagged Giambi out. The Yankees would go on to win that game, Game 4, and then Derek Jeter did another famous play in Game 5 when he flipped into the stands to catch a foul ball. And no, it was not the flying headfirst into the stands for a foul ball against the Bo Sox. That was 2004. Regardless, the Yankees looked pretty good. Tito Martinez was hitting pretty well. So was Derek Jeter, as always. But the Yankees won 2 pitching staff was Roger Clemens and Mike Mussina. Mussina coming over from Baltimore after the 1999 season. The 2000 season. The World Series would start October 27th, a week later than normal, obviously because of 9/11. All that. So, of course, it was huge and all that. Game 1 had Curt Schilling and Mike Mussina go head-to-head. So, it commenced on October 27th. The Yankees struck first, thanks to a Bernie Williams RBI double. But that was the only run off of Schilling and off the Diamondbacks in the game, as the Yankees would only have 3 hits in that game. And none of them came after the 4th inning. The Diamondbacks scored 4-run innings in 2 of the innings 3 and 4. So they crushed them. Game 2 saw Randy Johnson take on Andy Pettitte. And Randy Johnson was just lights out, giving up only 3 hits again to the Yankees. So the Yankees only had 6 hits in the 2 games at Arizona. And the Diamondbacks won 4-0. Ironically, this was the 1,000th game in postseason history in baseball. Anyway, on to Game 3 at 8:30 p.m. It was a critical one for the nation. Obviously, New York dealing with the 9/11 attacks. No disrespect to Washington and Pennsylvania. They also suffered greatly in 9/11. But anyway, New York, Twin Towers. George Bush decided to throw out the first pitch, becoming the first sitting U.S. president to throw a World Series first pitch since Jimmy Carter in 1979. Fuck Jimmy Carter. Anyhow, he actually threw the ceremonial first pitch, on the pitcher's mound, whereas most ceremonial first pitches were in front of the mound. And he threw it for a strike and all that. Bush said that he was preparing himself mentally and knew he had to throw a strike because they would boo him mercilessly. Well, Roger Clemens pitched great. It was a pitcher's duel, a 2-1 game. And no, it was not the Derek Jeter game. That comes up in Game 4. So Game 3 was a quiet 2-1 affair. And the Diamondbacks only scored 3 hits. On to Game 4, and what was supposed to be a turning point, in a sense. El Duque, or Orlando Hernandez, was on the mound for the Yankees. Schilling decided to pitch Game 4. It was 1-1 till the 8th inning when Eruvio Durazo hit an RBI double, and then Matt Williams grounded to a fielder's choice that scored the run to make it 3-1. The Diamondbacks decided to use Byung Kim, their closer, for a 6-out save. I don't know why. Anyway, it worked out in the 8th inning. Kim struck out the side in the 8th and ran into trouble in the 9th, unfortunately. Derek Jeter tried to bunt for a hit, but was thrown out. Paul O'Neill hit a single. Bernie Williams struck out, and Kim looked like he was going to get out of it with Tino Martinez coming. Unfortunately, Tino Martinez, in what was an underrated play, one of the most underrated plays in World Series history, hit a 2-run home run into the right field bleachers, tying the game 3-3. And the scoreboard clock past midnight, which meant they were in November baseball. Obviously, they were going to be in November baseball. I mean, you're not going to play 7 straight days. Even if you do that, you'll still be in November. As is. Mo Rivera was on the mound in the 10th and got rid of the Diamondbacks. Kim came out for the third inning of work. Why they didn't have someone else there? It was terrible. But anyway, he retired Scott Brosius and Alfonso Soriano. But Derek Jeter would then, on a payoff pitch, hit a opposite field home run to right field over the porch. And the Yankees won the game 4-3, which was shocking. Tied the series at 2, which meant there was going to be a game 6 in Arizona regardless. And that fan with the sign Mr. November, how did he know? He was Mr. November. So November 1st, they decided to go with Mike Cucina versus Miguel Batista, which was weird for the Diamondbacks because Batista could have pitched game 4 and left Schilling for game 5. But anyhow, Batista hadn't pitched in 12 days. However, he did prove everyone wrong by pitching 7 2/3 scoreless innings, striking out 6, and the Diamondbacks were up 2-0. Headed to the bottom of the 9th. It looked good. And Kim came back for the save. Why? I don't know. Anyway, Posada would double, but Kim got Shane Spencer and Chuck Knobloch out. So he was 1 out away from getting out of it. All he had to do was get rid of Scott Brosius, and the Diamondbacks had a 3-2 series lead headed home. Unfortunately, Scott Brosius hit a home run over the left field wall, tied the game at 2. In the 12th, Alfonso Soriano, who was a rookie at that time. Everyone forgets about how long Soriano lasted in the league, but he was a rookie in 2001, hitting an RBI single to make the Yankees win Game 5 and have a 3-2 series lead. Sterling Hitchcock got the win. All that. It was on to Game 6. Randy Johnson versus Andy Pettitte. It was a blowout. Diamondbacks win 15-2 over the Yankees. Randy Johnson pitched 7 innings and did well. So, yeah, 8 runs in the 3rd inning. It was just broken up and all that. I don't think they got a home run. There were no home runs in this game, which was weird. Anyway, the Diamondbacks set a World Series record with 22 hits in the game in the 15-2 win, and defeated the Yankees in the most lopsided postseason loss in Yankees history, 13 runs. However, it would be surpassed by the 2018 LDS game between the Yankees and Red Sox, which the Yankees lost on home turf 16-1, and worst of all, gave Brock Holt a hit for the cycle, single, double, home run, and triple. It was time for Clemens versus Schilling, Game 7. It was Game 7 for the ages, and boy, howdy, it was. Clemens, at 39 years old, was the oldest Game 7 starter ever, even older than Walter Johnson. Curt Schilling had pitched 2 games already. However, the game was huge. It was run tit for tat. The Diamondbacks had a 1-run lead in the 6th inning when Tino Martinez hit an RBI single. Brenly decided to keep Schilling into the 8th inning, but promptly gave up a home run to Alfonso Soriano. After Schilling struck out Brocious, he gave up a single to David Justice and left the game. So he brought in Miguel Batista to get Jeter out. And then he decided to use Randy Johnson in relief to try to cut this down. It was a smart move as Randy Johnson got him. Randy Johnson pitched a good inning, and then it was down to the bottom of the ninth. Yankees were up 2-1. Mary Rivera was coming in for the 2-inning save. Mark Grace would lead off the bottom of the ninth with a single. And then he took off for second base. No, sorry, that wasn't. No, he was replaced by David DeLucci, the pinch run for him. And DeLucci was trying to steal second. Rivera made a terrible throw the second on a bunt attempt by Damian Miller. Jeter and DeLucci tangled up and all that. Rivera got Jay Bell's bunt, who was pinch hitting for Randy Johnson, threw out DeLucci at third base. However, Scott Brocious didn't want to throw to first base to complete the double play. That could have been huge. Regardless of that, Major Cummings was coming into pinch run for Damian Miller, who got to second base. With Cummings at second and Bell at first, Womack, who was known for his speed, hit a double down the right field line on a 2-2 count to tie the game and give Rivera a blown save, something he rarely had. Bell went to third, and Womack was on second. After Mo Rivera unfortunately hit Craig Counsell with an 0-1 pitch, the bases were loaded. And Luis Gonzalez came on with one out. Bases were loaded and lofted a single over the drawn-in infield to win the game. And the Diamondbacks shocked the world by denying the Yankees a fourth consecutive title and making the Diamondbacks the fastest expansion team to win the World Series in their fourth year of existence. For Arizona, it's the only time they've won a major sports title. The Cardinals went to the Super Bowl in 2009, but lost to the Steelers on the last minute catch by Santonio Holmes. The Suns have been to 3 NBA Finals, but lost all 3 of them. And hockey, well, they suck. Anyway, Randy Johnson managed to pick up his 3rd win. Rivera took the loss. His only postseason loss in his career, Mo Rivera. So, yeah. I mean, I know why people went for the Yankees and all that, because, it's New York 9/11 and all that stuff. What was funny was that the Yankees only scored 14 runs in that 7-game series, so they only averaged 2 a game. But the weird thing is, if you take away the 2 runs that the Diamondbacks scored in the bottom of the ninth, which were their only 9th-inning runs of the series, the Yankees would have won the World Series despite being outscored by a total of 21 runs. Can you believe it? It would have been akin to 1960 when, ironically enough, the Yankees beat up on the Pirates, scoring 55 runs to the Pirates 27 during that World Series, and yet the Pirates still won in 7. So it was amazing. All that. So it was just amazing and all that. The aftermath was big. The Diamondbacks would not do too well. After that, I mean, the problem with the thing was that, they were trying to do well. The Diamondbacks in 2002 were swept by the Cardinals in the NLDS, and they declined heavily. They wouldn't win another NL West title until 2007. Schilling was traded to Boston after the 2003 season, and in 2004 helped them win the World Series. Randy Johnson was traded to the Yankees after the 2004 season. He would actually be traded back to the Diamondbacks to play for a few years there before finishing with the Giants. The last player from the 2001 Diamondbacks roster retired the 2014 season. Randy Choate was the last player off of the 2001 World Series for the Yankees to retire, and he did so 16 years later. I thought Soriano lasted longer than him. Anyway, the Yankees had a problem. Like, it was kind of dark not winning the World Series. However, what is not known and what people don't know about this, and I'm using Wikipedia for this tidbit, is that Enrique Wilson, who played for the Yankees, actually could have died. Here's what. Days after the blown save. Here's why. Because there was no Yankees victory parade down the Canyon of Heroes, Enrique decided to move up his flight home to the Dominican Republic. He would have flown back to the Dominican Republic on American Airlines Flight 587 that actually crashed in Bell Harbor in Queens, killing everyone on board. So he could have died. But during the offseason, several Yankees moved on to other teams or retired. Paul O'Neill, I believe, retired. Yeah, he retired. Scott Brosius retired. And Jason Giambi was signed to replace Timo Martinez, who left for St. Louis. It was shocking. The Yankees would have some bad misfortunes in the postseason in the 2000s. In 2002, they ended up losing the LDS to those pesky Anaheim Angels and their damn rally monkey. The Angels were going to win the World Series. The Yankees lost the World Series to the Marlins in 2003. Although I was upset over them being in Boston in Game 7 of the LCS. I thought the Yankees were going to win the World Series in 2003. But sadly, no, I was wrong. The Yankees had that choke job against the Red Sox in 2004, having a 3-game denied lead in the LCS, but blew it. The only team in Major League history to blow a 3-0 series lead. They lost the ALDS to the Angels in 2005, Detroit in 2006, and Cleveland in 2007. So, yeah, it was terrible. Joe Torre's contract expired, so he was replaced by Joe Girardi. Yankees missed the playoffs in 2008. However, 2009, they won the World Series, so that was it. So, yeah, it was just amazing and all that. So, the 2001 World Series brought America together after the tragedy of 9/11. And although the Yankees should have won the World Series and things would make sense, they didn't. I feel bad, but, Diamondbacks, I picked them because of the diamond in the last name. And no, I'm not a Diamondbacks fan hugely. I mean, a Blue Jays fan. I mean, I'm from Southern Ontario. What do you expect? Anyway, on Jeff Diamond, I do.